Hello, welcome to Nots Today with me, Emma Caldwell. Happy Friday. Hope you're doing well today. Here's what we've got on the show for you. First, we've been to see the culmination of work by Nottingham children who've been writing music to cope with school life.
I've really enjoyed it. Even just the journey here was just fun in general, but actually being here was very enjoyable.
That looks fabulous. We'll have more on that in just a few minutes. Also on the show, we'll be looking back at the last 12 months as Nottingham City Council marks a year since effectively declaring bankruptcy. The Labour-run authority issued the financial notice exactly a year ago today, and in just a few minutes we'll be looking at what's happened over that year and the council's current financial situation too. Plus, we'll be meeting the West Bridgford woman who's been making Christmas clothes for babies born prematurely. Lorna Tallowin creates items for children born as young as 22 weeks into a pregnancy and is here later on to tell us how it all came about. Plus, we've been to the golf club holding special sessions for members with disabilities.
Why do you like golf?
I like the sun and the hard, fast.
As a happy!
And we've got a bumper sport coming up for you today, including looking ahead to the FA Cup action for Mansfield and Notts County.
It's everyone's dream, isn't it, to dream about playing against that big club at home, one of the Premier League big boys. That's what the Cup's about, and this is why it's one of the greatest cup competitions in the world.
All that and loads more coming up just for you, but first, and today marks exactly a year since Nottingham City Council effectively declared itself bankrupt, having not been able to balance its budgets for the upcoming financial year. 12 months on, and the authority is under the control of government-appointed commissioners, but has been drawing up cuts to services and selling off assets too, all in a bid to claw back money and pay back government support given to it a year ago. While a lot's happened over that past year, and our local democracy reporter Joe Locker has been following it all from the very beginning, and he joins us now to look back and forward too. Joe, thank you for joining us today. So reminders, take us back. What led to the council effectively declaring bankruptcy?
Yeah, so Emma, a lot has happened, and a lot did happen, before that date. It didn't just sort of, suddenly occur. There was a lot leading up to it, I suppose. Back on that day, Ross Brown, who was the corporate director of finance at the time, issued what's known as a Section 114 notice. So that's basically a formal declaration that the council could not set a balanced budget as it's required to by law. This was like an emergency, notice really, saying that, all new spending had to cease apart from everything that was needed by law, like social care, that sort of thing. But the thing is, councils can't go bankrupt as you and I could, or as a business could. So it's shorthand for it's the best description we have really. It's been a long running saga really. I mean, on one side, you've got Labour and the national context, because this isn't just Nottingham. Nottingham City Council gets £100 million a year, £100 million per year less than it did a decade ago. Demand for social care has increased. The costs for that have increased as well. But then on the other hand, you've got high-profile blunders like Robin Hood Energy, for example, which cost taxpayers about £38 million. There's a lot of nuance needed, really, to sort of describe the situation that the council's in.
And I do remember this time last year, it was all quite shocking. There was lots of people shocked by the council effectively declaring bankruptcy. Is there a chance that this could happen again this year?
Yeah, so it's looking better this year. Not entirely there yet, but sweeping cuts were passed earlier this year. So we had 550 job cuts, cuts to youth services to try and bridge this £53 million gap in the current year. Commissioners have since been appointed back in February as well, so they're now overseeing the operation of the council. And the budget gap has been sort of brought down to about 2.9 million now. So compare that to this time last year when it was 23 million. 2.9 is significantly less. But the thing is here is that that gap has sort of been bridged through the use of exceptional financial support, which allows the council to sell assets to pay for day-to-day costs.
And
basically.
is this something we're going to have to pay back?
Yeah, so that's, the council's having to sell all manner of property basically to fund just day-to-day services. So once something's sold, it can only be sold once. So that's not a sustainable income generating sort of area.
And what's the impact of this been on the city?
Yeah, I mean, it's been difficult for a lot of groups. Kieran Thompson, who runs Helping Kids Achieve, I've been to some of his basketball sessions in the past. That he sort of runs for disadvantaged kids in Nottingham. He has lost about £15,000 a year to help him do what he does, and he's just one person that's been affected by these cuts. That the council's had to make. So we've got a review of libraries underway at the minute. Youth and play centres are being cut as well. So yeah, really difficult time for people.
And we're a year on. We're talking a year on now. What's next? What's going to happen next, Joe?
Yeah, a good question and slightly concerning one as well. Because I mean, the next financial year, so from April next year, there's a £69 million gap. In that year, that's going to have to be bridged, and then over the next 3 years, that rises to about 172 million. So difficult decisions are no doubt going to be hitting the city in the future as well. So we've got to see in the next few weeks when the budget's announced what's going to happen. So.
Well, I know you've been following this story really closely, not just in this past year, but before as well. And I know you'll keep us informed. So, Joe, thank you very much for the moment. Appreciate it. Now, as you might have seen on the show a couple of weeks ago, a Nottingham charity has been taking its work into schools or alternative provisions to get young people talking and keeping them out of trouble. The Freedom Foundation runs music workshops and mentoring sessions to support young people who need help staying on the right path or help with their mental health too. And its Demonstrating Resilience and Inspiring Lives programme is helping kids who may often be placed in detention. Today, students from Farnborough Spencer Academy in Clifton made the journey into the city centre to produce their very own song in a professional recording studio, and Jordan Guerrero was there.
The day that these Clifton school children have been building up to for 12 weeks is finally here. They've been writing down lyrics for their personal song during their drill lessons that focus on being able to talk about your emotions and staying out of trouble in school. They came to the Element studio in Hockley to turn their meaningful words into a fully fledged track, taking turns stepping into the audio booth for the very first time. And they say it's been a great experience.
I've really enjoyed it. Even just the journey here was just fun in general, but actually being here was very enjoyable.
We actually got to make them stay and edit them a bit, so it's really good. And yeah, we got to go in here, sing them.
I was writing some of my raps at home as well, some of it, and listened to it and that lot. And then when I went to school, I brought it in and I was doing a bit in drill as well. Today's been good, but it was kind of nervous.
When you hear it back again, they can do so much stuff to make it sound better, and it sounds way better than you actually sang it than you thought. I think we'll all remember this as a good opportunity to make music.
The workshops have been put on by the Freedom Foundation, and Head of Operations Simon Green says the power in what they do lies in the creative freedom given to children.
It's an outlet, it's therapy without asking those direct questions of how are you or what's going on in your life. It's, talking to them, it's getting them to write it down. Everything that goes on in the young people's minds, it gets clogged up, even in adults. And to have that outlet to express themselves and then construct it into in a creative way, I think it's powerful for them. It kind of gets it off their chest.
This city centre studio has been working closely with alternative education providers for more than a year, and in the studio say it's a great way to inspire the kids to consider music as a potential career too.
Getting that instant engagement and that excitement, I think it makes it feel like it's possible. If some of these guys, the work that they're doing with Freedom Foundation and with some of the projects that we're doing, hopefully they can go forward and have the belief that they can go forward and have a career in this stuff.
After the children's songs were complete, it inspired me to get creative too.
These kids have worked hard making songs with their team, so it's my turn now to make a rap for the screen. These drill sessions have changed lives, as you've seen. That's all from Jordan G at Notts TV.
I mean, that's what you would want to see on a Friday night, isn't it? Love that. Thank you, Jordan. Right, let's have a look at some more of your Friday news headlines now. First, police have launched an appeal after a 16-year-old boy suffered knife wounds in Nottingham. The incident happened in Milton Street just before 6:30 on Thursday evening, and officers were called to reports of a teenager suffering knife injuries to his arm. Nottinghamshire police say his injury isn't currently thought to be life-threatening or altering, and investigations into what's happening are ongoing. They say anyone who was in the area at the time and might have information should get in touch on 101. Next, and two people from Notts have been arrested, after a 25-year-old was killed in a suspected hit and run near Mansfield. Alana Armstrong died at the scene after her e-bike was struck on Batley Lane in Pleasley at about 8 p.m. on Tuesday. Police say it was involved in a collision with a Land Rover Discovery, and Alana, who's from Tipshelf, was pronounced dead by emergency services. Derbyshire Police have launched a murder investigation and say a man and a woman in their 30s from Skegby have been arrested. All right, let's take a short break now, but when we get back, we are going to be heading to Southwell Golf Club, or Southwell Golf Club, depending on how you want to say it, putting on sessions for members with disabilities. And then as we get ready for the weekend, I tell you what, we've got a bumper sport coming up for you with Forest Stags and Notts County too. We'll see you in a sec. Hello, welcome back to Friday's show with me, Emma Calder. I hope you're okay today. Here's what's happening in Notts today. First, and 5 people arrested by police as they reinvestigate a taxi driver's murder 30 years ago have all been bailed. Nottinghamshire Police relaunched a public appeal into the death of taxi driver Eltham Ghaffur, better known to friends and family as Shami, last Friday, exactly 3 decades after he was found shot in his own cab in Gedling. Officers held a press conference with his family a week ago and arrested 4 men and a woman around the Sneinton and Bakersfield areas on Tuesday. They've all been bailed by police whilst investigations continue. Next, and 8 out of 11 MPs representing Nottingham and Nottinghamshire voted for a proposed bill to legalise assisted dying. MPs voted in favour of an assisted dying bill today, proposed by Labour backbencher Kim Leadbeater, by a margin of 330 votes in favour and 275 against. Only 3 of the 11 MPs representing constituencies across our area voted against the bill. They're Robert Jenrick of Newark, Juliet Campbell of Broxtowe and James Naish of Rushcliffe. The non-binding vote means legislation will now be drawn up by MPs. Right, let's move on now, and in a minute we are about to take our sports update ahead of the weekend, but first we went up to a golf session at Norwood Park Golf Centre near Southwell to watch a weekly class put on specifically for members with learning difficulties like Down syndrome and autism. The sessions are supported by the charity MENCAP, which recently opened a new home in the city, and Izzy Fekulak went down to watch them in the swing of it.
Why do you like golf?
Like the song and the hard.
As a happy.
Here are some of the smiley faces who get to take part in MENCAP's weekly golf sessions right here at Norwood Park Golf Centre near Southwell. The group is made up of sport fanatics with learning difficulties like Down syndrome and autism. The initiative is all about giving them the drive to get active and socialise with peers. And it's an experience that means so much to all those involved. Leonie Carter, the group's sport and fitness tutor, says it's vital that sports knows no boundaries.
It's possible for anybody to play any sport, just need to go down the right avenues, and that's what we're trying to do, open up as many avenues within sport. You don't see many people with disabilities on the golf course. But to come to a venue like this, they absolutely love it, and all we hear all week is golf on Friday, golf on Friday. And even though we come every Friday, and we've done 20 sessions altogether, they get really excited still, and they look forward to the Fridays on the golf course.
Golf instructor Peter Lockley has seen all types of faces and abilities come through the doors here, but says it's moments like these that are really touching to see.
It's great to see all sorts of people having access to golf and finding some enjoyment from it. To see them get that much joy from, you know, a shot that perhaps other people wouldn't find so joyful is very humbling. I think it brings you back down to earth and allows you to realise how lucky you are.
Michael Wire is one of the group's members with a learning difficulty. He gets involved in a breadth of sports here every week and hopes it will never end.
I'd just say this place is absolutely amazing. The learning as they go along and progress as well each week. It's nice to see other people here. The Mencap group are actually here and they're hitting really good golf balls. I'm hoping it'll carry on.
They hope more prospective golfers with learning difficulties can get into the swing of things by joining the group in the future. Izzy Fekulak for Notts TV.
Thank you, Izzy. Time for your sport now, and we're starting off with Notts County, who travel to League One Peterborough tomorrow in the second round of the FA Cup. A win for the Pies could land them a huge draw in the third round. That's when Championship and Premier League opposition get added into the mix. And today, head coach Stuart Maynard spoke about his love for the magic of the Cup and how his team have been preparing for penalty shootouts. And that, of course, is because replays have been removed from this year's competition.
It's everyone's dream, isn't it, to dream about playing against that big club at home, one of the Premier League big boys. That's what the Cup's about, and this is why it's one of the greatest Cup competitions in the world. Everyone wants to be involved in it, and we're going into a very tough game away at Peterborough, but we believe that in the Cup you have a chance of getting through to the next round, and we want to make sure that we're in the hat. Lads will be practising their penalties. They have been. Obviously, we've been in a few competitions this year that goes to penalties at the end of the game, even if we're drawing in the league system that we were just in. So lads have been practising their penalties for a while now. So the ones that are confident, because it's not easy. It's easy to go in training and practice and take penalties and believe that you can score penalties consistently, but to actually go up in the big game when it really matters, it takes a lot of strength and courage.
And Mansfield Town are also in FA Cup action this weekend, and they also face League One opposition on the road when they travel to Stevenage. The Stags go into the match off the back of successive 1-0 league losses, most recently on the road to Wickham on Tuesday night. They face a Stevenage side who've already beaten them this season when they faced off at the One Call last month, and Borough left with a 1-0 win. That one gets going from 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. And it's league action for Nottingham Forest this weekend though, and they're welcoming newly promoted Ipswich Town to the City Ground in a must-win for Nuno Espirito Santo's side. They go into the match off a 2-game losing run, whilst the Tractor Boys are unbeaten in their last 2, having drawn with Man United and beaten Spurs. Speaking ahead of the game, the Forest head coach said the club are monitoring the potential threat of Ipswich forward Liam Delap, who's been on fine form of late.
First of all, we have to try and control the delivering. Who makes the pass? Who creates the situation? If you can control that, you can minimize the options of Delap. He's a good player. He's a very young striker that is doing really well, and we try as a team. Every team and every coaching staff, every squad, every player believes that going for the game with only one thing in their minds, to win. So I believe that we will come here and try as the same, and I can assure to you that we are in the same page.
And we move from football onto ice hockey now, and we're starting with a departure at Nottingham Panthers after the club announced Hunter Vorva has left the club. The 28-year-old joined the Panthers in the summer but only recently made his debut after having a setback due to injury, which meant he only actually travelled to Nottingham earlier on this month. But today the club have announced he's travelling back to his hometown of Kalamazoo in America due to a family emergency, and the Panthers don't expect him to return this season. On the ice now, and the club say they'll be without forward Matt Alfaro for about a month after he picked up an upper body injury. That rules him out of their game this weekend, when they'll travel firstly to face arch rivals the Sheffield Steelers tomorrow before welcoming the Dundee Stars to the Motorpoint Arena. They'll also be without forward Tim Doherty and defenceman Cooper Zek, who are both also injured but are taking it week by week. Speaking ahead of the weekend though, assistant coach Linton Grant said they're hoping to build off 2 wins last weekend.
Yeah, I think like obviously the season's always about kind of like managing those lows and highs, right? And I think especially in that run, we were kind of struggling to find our confidence, and I think it's always a tough one to try and buy your way back into those ones when it comes to confidence. But now that we've started to maybe click a little bit more offensively, I think the guys just have that little bit of a swagger to them, the kind of weights lifted off their shoulders just that touch. And I think anytime you can have that kind of relief, the game starts to come just that little bit easier for you, right? I think there's been a couple of those games where we've been 2 goals up and we've kind of maybe just sat back that a little bit too much, and we've let teams get back into those games, whereas Manchester, it was good for us just to keep our foot on the throttle and keep pushing forward. So it was good to see that we've got it in us, that we're not just going to rest on our laurels when maybe we've got a lead.
And don't forget, we've got another full Panthers game for you to watch tonight when we bring you all the goals from their 4-1 thrashing of Manchester Storm this past weekend. That one airs on Notts TV at 7:30 p.m. and is repeated tomorrow morning at 11. Into rugby now, and Nottingham will look to bounce back from successive defeats when they welcome Bedford Blues to the Bay this evening. The Archers lost by 29 points to 70 against the Leicester Tigers last Friday in front of a sellout crowd of nearly 4,000 fans in Lady Bay. They're back at home tonight in league action and face a Bedford side who are 3rd in the table, having won 1 more game than Nottingham so far this season. Kick-off for that one is at 7:45 tonight. And finally, we're talking cricket. Now, yes, the season might be quite some time away, but Notts have signed fast bowler and academy graduate Tom Giles up to a professional contract, and he's spoken to the club's media for the first time as an outlaw as their pre-season preparation gets underway. Speaking in a new video, he said he's excited for cricket to return to Trent Bridge in the spring.
It started at Bunbury, under 15s. Woody asked me to come down and train in the winter with Notts there, and then joined the academy in that winter, and then ever since then just kept pushing, working hard, and then eventually signed my rookie contract this year. Sort of just took off really. So played a couple of twos games at the end of last year, and then Frank just kept putting me in. He kept asking me, and it was a real special feeling. Obviously playing second team cricket and trying to push for higher honours than the young lions stuff was, that was just special. That's a special feeling to be able to wear the 3 lions on your shirt.
Time now for our Friday picture of the day, and our very own Andrew Topping took this great sunrise. Honestly, there's so many good sunrise photos today. He took this one on his way to work. Weather now, and tonight we'll see some light rain before it dries up overnight. Temperatures aren't dropping though, sticking to around 7 or 8 degrees, which feels quite warm if I'm honest. Into the weekend and Saturday morning will begin overcast but dry. By about midday though, we should start to see some sunshine with high temperatures. Are you ready for this? 13 degrees. We'll be out in t-shirts before you know it. Sunday is a mixture of some showers, not me though. Earlier on, changing into sunny spells around midday and a chance of some more rain in the evening. Temperatures still pretty mild in the low teens between 11 and 13. Gotta tell you, my big coat's still out though. Right, let's take another short break. But when we get back, we are going to be taking a look at one of your top stories today, and also looking at what you can get up to both tonight and over the coming fortnight too. We're all Hello, welcome back to Friday's Notts Today with me, Emma Caldwell. Have you had a good day so far? I hope so. Let's go for some more of your news headlines now. First, a Nottinghamshire County Council expects there to be more than enough places, school places, in Rushcliffe by the end of the decade. And that is despite figures originally suggesting there'd be a 949 place deficit in school places across the borough within the next 5 years. However, the authority says it's working with academy trusts and schools across Rushcliffe to meet future demand, and expects improvements and expansions to several schools should lead to a surplus of more than 100 places by 2030. Next, and the Chief Executive of Mansfield District Council will leave the authority to take up the same role in Rushcliffe. Adam Hill will leave the Labour-run authority next year to take over at the top of the Conservative-run Rushcliffe Borough Council, only a few years after he took over in Mansfield. The role is the highest senior officer position a council has, and he'll replace outgoing Rushcliffe CEO Kath Marriott. In a statement, he said he loved working in Mansfield, but said he's excited to help in regenerating Rushcliffe. Time now to take a look at how you can kickstart your weekend tonight with our What's On guide. First up, comedy at the Royal Concert Hall. Rod Gilbert, you know that's going to be a great show. Rod Gilbert and the Giant Grapefruit. There are still a few tickets available for tonight's performance. He's here tomorrow night as well. Both of those shows start at 8 o'clock. Or if you want some music, as always, there is plenty going on around our city and county, including, this sounds fabulous, Scottish group Manran. It's a 7-piece band bringing a mix of traditional and modern instruments with English and Gaelic singing. Doesn't that sound good? They're at Genogly Theatre tonight from 7:30 if you fancy that. And finally, you might have seen our story yesterday on the show when we visited the Surface Gallery. Both their volunteer exhibition and the self-portrait display, which just looked incredible, are open tonight until 9. But whatever you're doing, have a good one. And that is what you can get up to tonight. But what about in the next few weeks? Well, it's getting very Christmassy in our county. I cannot believe it's December on Sunday. Can you? Well, my next great guest knows some of the best places to get out and about over the coming fortnight, including Christmassy and less festive events too. It's the lovely Eve Smallman, the editor of the Knots Edit. Eve, welcome back. Thank you for coming in today. Are you prepared for Christmas, first of all?
I haven't even got my tree up, which I feel like is really embarrassing and need to sort it out. But
There are so many trees up already.
I know, I feel really bad about it, but I am going to the It's in Nottingham Christmas Market tomorrow, which is on over the weekend, so I feel like that's going to get me in the mood. I'm going to get some gifts, and we put out our Nottingham gift guide last week, which kind of got me in the mood as well.
I think there's a lot of people going to be buying Christmas presents and putting up the trees, myself included, on Sunday. I'm like, it's December, that tree is going up. But of course, there's loads of things that are going on across Nottingham. Let's start with a non-Christmassy one.
Yes, so next Tuesday, Sheku and Isata Canamason, obviously from the very famous Canamason family, are bringing classical music to Rock City. I was amazed there were still tickets available, you know, because they're so famous. Obviously, Isata is a pianist and Sheku's a cellist, and he played at Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding, so they're going to be a real treat.
And of course the Nottingham family as well. I love the fact that they might have gone, where do we want to play? I know, Rock City, because it's not the kind of music you would expect at Rock City, but I think that would be amazing.
Yes, I think so. I mean, as you say, you'd probably expect maybe Royal Concert Hall or something, but actually it is quite a cool venue, and it's big, but it's kind of intimate at the same time, so I think it will work quite well for classical music.
Remind us when that one is, Eve?
That's next Tuesday.
Lovely. Okay, now let's talk something absolutely adorable and Christmassy now, a pet photo session.
Yes, so that's at Attenborough Nature Reserve on December 20th. It's £8 per pup, so if you're bringing a whole selection of pups, it's £8 per one. And there'll be Christmas decorations, and Sophie Bell Photography will be taking pictures of your dog. So if you've got a last minute Christmas gift that you need to do, or you know your family members are more interested in your dog than they are you,
we know
can pop
that happens
in.
a lot.
Yes, and then of course you can walk around the nature reserve, which has got loads of winter birds at the moment, so if you're into that, you can do that too.
I absolutely love that. Do you need to book in for that? You can just turn up?
No, you can just turn up, which is lovely. If you've got that Friday off work, you might have it off work to do some shopping, you can do that in the morning, have a little walk round and get properly into the festive spirit.
Fabulous, that sounds absolutely brilliant. Now here's something that just sounds wonderful, a wine and Christmas table decoration workshop. It's got my name written all over that one.
Yes, me too. That's on December 14th at Wolds Wine Estate. It's £50 per person, but within that you get a mince pie and mulled wine on arrival. You get all the foliage and oranges and everything you need to create your own Christmas table centerpiece, which will it can either be for a candle or a bottle of wine, I believe. So depending on what you want to display on your festive table, you'll be able to make something really special.
I love that. I always imagine that my Christmas table is going to be lovely and adorned with gorgeous festivities and beautiful foliage and stuff. But then I feel like I don't understand how people keep that on the table when the food comes out, because that table is just full of food.
That's true, and on the day you have a bit of a panic, you're like, oh, what's this looking like? There's like crackers, there's hats already on here.
No, but you've got to lift the candle off the table.
Yeah.
But, that sounds absolutely gorgeous. So when is that again?
That's on December 14th, and you need to book that in advance, and it's £50 per person.
Lovely. I'm just saying that's my wedding anniversary as well. Husband, if you're listening, that could be a great day to do that. And finally, we are talking about something you can get dressed up for.
This is the Snowflake Ball at Pitching Piano on December 21st, so literally the last Saturday before Christmas. It's black tie, so get properly dressed up, and it's kind of Bridgerton meets Winter Ball, but in a modern era is the impression that I'm getting. There's going to be fire eaters, there's going to be Michael Bublé tributes. But the reason I mention this now is because tickets are pretty much sold out. There's just the entertainment ones left. So I'd definitely snap those up if you're interested in having a Saturday night out on the town before Christmas.
Oh, that sounds lovely. And you know what? I think sometimes you go through stages when you go to loads and loads of different weddings, and I love getting dressed up for a wedding. But I haven't had a wedding for ages because a lot of my friends are now married. So getting dressed up and being able to go to something like this, honestly, I love it.
Yes, me too. I want to go.
Excellent, fabulous.
I'll see that.
So many gorgeous things. Remind us how we can get more information on what's going on across Nottingham.
So if you subscribe to The Knots Edit, you type in www.thenotsedit.com. You can subscribe to receive our articles in your inbox for free. We also have social media, so we're on Instagram and TikTok, which is just at The Knots Edit. And we send out Knots Going On every Monday, which always has loads of events in it. And we're publishing our December events guide this Sunday.
Amazing. Always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for coming in. Now, you might have seen on the show a couple of weeks ago, in Nottingham Charity has been taking its work into schools or alternative provisions to get young people talking and keeping them out of trouble. The Freedom Foundation runs music workshops and mentoring sessions to support young people who need help staying on the right path, or maybe some help with their mental health. And its Demonstrating Resilience and Inspiring Lives programme is helping children who may often be placed in detention. Today, students from Farnborough Spencer Academy in Clifton made the journey into the city centre to produce their very own song in a professional recording studio. This is very exciting, and Jordan Guerrero was there.
The day that these Clifton school children have been building up to for 12 weeks is finally here. They've been writing down lyrics for their personal song during their drill lessons that focus on being able to talk about your emotions and staying out of trouble in school. They came to the Element studio in Hockley to turn their meaningful words into a fully fledged track, taking turns stepping into the audio booth for the very first time. And they say it's been a great experience.
I've really enjoyed it. Like even just the journey here was just fun in general, but actually being here was like very enjoyable.
We actually got to like make them stay and edit them a bit, so it's really good. And yeah, we got to like go in here, sing them.
I was writing some of my raps at home as well, like some of it, and listened to it and that lot. And then when I went to school, I brought it in and I was doing a bit in drill as well. Today's been good, but it was like kind of nervous.
Like when you hear it back again, they can do so much stuff to make it like sound better. And like it sounds way better than you actually sang it than you thought. I think we'll all remember this like as a good opportunity to make music.
The workshops have been put on by the Freedom Foundation, and Head of Operations Simon Green says the power in what they do lies in the creative freedom given to children.
It's an outlet, it's therapy without asking those direct questions of how are you or what's going on in your life. It's, you know, talking to them, it's getting them to write it down. Everything that goes on in the young people's minds, like it gets clogged up, even in adults. And to have that outlet to express themselves and then construct it into in a creative way, I think it's powerful for them. It kind of gets it off their chest.
This city centre studio has been working closely with alternative education providers for more than a year, and in the studio say it's a great way to inspire the kids to consider music as a potential career too.
Getting that instant engagement and that excitement, I think it makes it feel like it's possible. If some of these guys, you know, the work that they're doing with Freedom Foundation and, you know, some of the projects that we're doing, hopefully they can go forward and have the belief that they can go forward and have a career in this stuff.
After the children's songs were complete, it inspired me to get creative too.
These kids have worked hard making songs with their team, so it's my turn now to make a rap for the screen. These drill sessions have changed lives, as you've seen. That's all from Jordan G at Knots TV.
I love that. They've absolutely got it sorted. And what else do you need on a Friday apart from seeing Jordan Guerrero doing a little rap? Right, this is Knots Today. Let's take some more of your news headlines now. First, and Nottinghamshire Police are appealing for help after a violent incident at a Newark nightclub. The force said it happened inside a club in the town at about 2 in the morning of September the 21st. It involved a man being punched multiple times before being knocked unconscious. A second male victim was also assaulted in the incident, and police have now released CCTV images as part of their investigations. They say anyone who recognises the two men in these images should contact them on 101. Next, and an Ashfield care home where residents had to endure the smell of urine has been rated inadequate. Stonyford Care Home in Sutton has also been placed in special measures by the Care Quality Commission, which said the home isn't well managed and people were placed at risk of harm. The visit followed concerns from a whistleblower, and when inspectors visited, they also found residents having to bang on tables for attention. In a statement, the home said it's committed to high quality care, but said management changed just before the inspection. Right, let's take one final break, but when we get back, we're hearing some of your Christmas Day traditions, and we're also going to be meeting a woman creating clothes for babies born prematurely and giving them to hospital wards too. That's plus more news headlines, all on the way next. Hello, welcome back to Fridays Not Today with me, Emma Caldwell. I hope you are well. Here's what's happening in your headlines today. First, more than 8,000 former miners in Notts will begin to get more money in their pension from today. It's part of a pledge by the new Labour government to put £1.5 billion back into the mine workers' pension scheme after decades of cash being taken from it. The commitment gives each miner signed up to the scheme an extra £29 per week, or about £1,500 per year, and the government said it's in thanks to the miners who helped keep the lights on for decades. Next, and Loose Women presenter and actor Denise Welsh has dropped out of this year's panto performance in Nottingham. The soap star, who's appeared in shows like Coronation Street and Waterloo Road, was due to play Captain Hook in this year's performance of Peter Pan alongside fashionista Gok Wan and comedian Paul Chuckle. But the Theatre Royal have confirmed she's dropped out due to ill health and will be replaced by Richard Windsor, who's best known for playing Dr. Carl Knight in Casualty. The panto gets going a week tomorrow. And we are sticking with Christmas now. What are your festive traditions? Whether it's waking up early to open the presents, having a glass of Bucks Fizz in the morning, or simply just spending more time with your loved ones. All of us have our own way of celebrating the coming Christmas period. And as December arrives in just a couple of days' time, we wanted to know what people in Nottingham get up to when Christmas Day arrives and we're all together celebrating the birth of baby Jesus. Take a look at what people had to say when we went down to Nottingham's Winter Wonderland this week.
Children, in fact, all my family around me at Christmas. I love that. I like to have everybody there. You know, that's the most important thing to me, anyway.
I like to spend Christmas Day with the family. Yeah, only Christmas presents, obviously, and we do Secret Santa. That's our Christmas tradition with the family. Yeah. We do Secret Santa. It's usually something silly.
We like to eat panettone and
garlic prawns for starters.
on Christmas morning, and then we might have a prosecco with a little bit of orange juice.
Yeah, Bucks Fizz.
Yeah.
Baileys. All the good things. Lots of food
and family. And
I'm not too fussed about roasting that. I have to eat because it's Christmas Day, but I'd gladly have a bowl of pasta.
We celebrate tradition of Christmas with our family in Holland, and our daughter is coming. She's living here in Nottingham, and we're going to eat with each other. We're all making something.
Traditions, well, in Spain they don't eat on the 25th, they eat on the 24th, so that we eat with his parents on the 25th, mine on the 20th, he's on the 24th, mine on the 25th, and then we keep celebrating until Three Kings Day, so it's like 2 or 3 weeks of partying.
We're moving on now, and my next guest has been doing something rather inspirational, having teamed up with a neonatal nurse here in Nottingham to help other families with premature babies after she gave birth to her own son 9 weeks early. Lorna Tallowin and nurse Beth Morris set up Super Dinky, which makes special clothes for premature babies born as early as 22 weeks. At that point, newborns can be as small as a water bottle or a mobile phone. With Christmas approaching, the pair are hoping to get as many of their vests into hospitals, both in Nottingham and around the country, to help families going through a tough time. And I'm pleased to say Lorna joins me now to tell us more. Lorna, thank you so much for joining us today. First of all, I know this is a big question, but take us back to your experience with a premature baby.
So thank you for having me on the show. I was pregnant at 7 months, everything seemed to be going well, and then suddenly my waters broke and I drove to hospital thinking nothing was,
substantially wrong, but then he was born hours later. So obviously my son was very premature, 31 weeks, so he then spent 6 weeks in the neonatal intensive care unit, which was an incredibly stressful, medical, traumatic time for us as a family.
And it really changes things. And I know people who've had premature babies. My lovely godson was born at 24 weeks and again cared for at City Hospital. It's a really traumatic time for parents, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a really confusing time as well, because you want to be happy that you've had a baby and everyone wants to congratulate you, but actually it's not a baby that's tiny, that's perfectly formed. It's still in its gestation. So you're actually looking at essentially a fetus, which is, you know, should still be in the womb. So it's quite scary, traumatic, really difficult to kind of bond with a baby that's in an incubator, and lots of kind of medical terminology being thrown around.
And of course, one of the things that you don't often get to do is dress your baby when they're first born. So how did the idea for Super Dinky come about?
So it took about a month before I could dress my baby, before he was kind of old enough to wear clothes on his very delicate skin. And at that point, he was still absolutely tiny and could only wear a white t-shirt because that's all I could find that would fit him. And one of the nurses caring for him, Beth, had this idea that we could make bright, joyful, beautiful, bright coloured prints in really soft fabric and make something that was not a big garment made smaller, but actually specially designed for premature babies.
Because you studied fashion here at NTU as well, so you had a background in fashion, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
So you've bought some of the teeny tiny clothes with you just to kind of show us what kind of things people can buy.
Yeah, I have. So this is what you get in the post. It's a letterbox parcel, so it could arrive when parents are at hospital, if they're kind of visiting their baby for the day. Because obviously parents have to leave their babies overnight, which is absolutely awful.
And they're just,
but this is my first Christmas. So that's just, you know, next to the size of my hand, you can see how tiny these babies are. And then we do like a little kind of vest with the wrap over the nappy as well. So if you think about a normal nappy for a newborn's this big, and one for a premature baby is absolutely minuscule.
And of course they need poppers and to be delicate and kind to the skin as well, don't they?
Yeah, so these are all organic cotton, but we developed a special pattern that, obviously using my fashion design from NTU, that actually wraps over the baby. So what you do is you kind of open it like a towel, so it wraps over the shoulders, then you'd lay the baby on with all kind of tubes and wires and medical devices, because some of the babies are on life support, they're on breathing support, so then you can kind of wrap them up really gently and you're not kind of causing stress to what is a very kind of vulnerable baby.
And it's a really difficult time for parents. Oh, you've put one on a bunny just to show how tiny the babies are.
Absolutely tiny. Yeah.
I mean, they're really dinky, super dinky.
Super dinky.
I mean, they really are. And of course, as we get into this run up to Christmas, like you say, you have a baby, and I remember it's a really difficult time because you're congratulating the parents on the baby, but if the baby's born early, there's usually some problems, and they're in neonatal, and it's a difficult time. But Christmas especially is a difficult time to have a baby in NICU, isn't it?
Yeah, I think what we try and do is support parents' mental health. So we have a community on Instagram, and we have a lot of parents connecting with each other and sharing kind of advice on how to, I guess, navigate it, and also the fact that it's not over once you're home. So it's creating that sense of community for them. But then also, like, we have a lot of people gifting these because it just brings like one moment of joy where they can kind of forget that their baby has to have all these kind of medical procedures happening and checks and tests and things, and they can actually just like enjoy dressing their baby and have like a normal moment.
And I think this is absolutely it. It's those little moments of joy. And like you say, it's not necessarily the parents that are buying these for their children. Maybe people who've had experience of a premature baby, and you think, gosh, I wish that was there when my baby was in hospital. How can people get involved and maybe gift them to hospitals?
That's what we hear all the time. I found you too late. I wish you were available. So on our website, on superdinky.co.uk, you can actually gift to your NICU. So you could choose QMC or City Hospital or a hospital close to your heart. And then we would kind of gift wrap it and pack it and send it with some, we do kind of premature baby milestone cards. We put some of those in, skin to skin, good day, hard day. Just so parents can find it a bit easier to share their journey, because people often kind of bottle it up, and it is really hard. It's a roller coaster. So there's, you know, your baby might be off life support, they might be on oxygen, they might have feeding tubes, and one day they're without the feeding tube and the next day it's back in again. So it's a very kind of one step forward, two steps back journey. So yeah, people can order these on our website and gift them. And the first year we tried to reach 30, the second year 60, and this year we're trying to get 100 to families in hospital on Christmas Day.
Lorna, we could talk about this for so much time, but we are running out. Remind us how we can get our hands on those and maybe gift them to one of our hospitals here in Nottingham.
If you just go on the website, superdinky.co.uk, and it's the Gift Your NICU option, you can buy it there.
I love that. Thank you very much for coming and sharing that with us. Next, as we saw in our bumper sports earlier on in the show, it's a busy weekend for our football teams with Forest at home and Notts and Stags away in the Cup. Now, if you missed any of this week's Team Talk, don't you worry, because you can still catch it on demand at nottstv.com or on our official YouTube channel. And here's a little look at what the panel's predictions are for the upcoming games.
It's time now for your weekend predictions, starting off with Forest at home to Ipswich. How are you seeing this?
I'm going for a home win.
Forest Ipswich.
Home win. Home win.
3 on the board then with a home win. The FA Cup, it's Peterborough against Notts County.
Is it replays?
Nope.
Nope. Goes right to penalties.
Yep.
I'm going to say Notts County on penalties.
2-1 Notts. I won't say Notts win.
Okay. And the final one is Stevenage against Mansfield Town. Stevenage not in great form at the moment.
I'm going to go for a 1-0 for Mansfield.
2-0 Stags. I think win. I don't know what, but I think they'll win.
Okay. Right. Tuesday, Bolton against Mansfield Town.
I'm going to go for a draw in that one.
0-0. Draw.
And how about Notts County, who are playing at Walsall?
I'm going to go for another draw. I think it'll be a tight game.
Draw.
Tight
yeah,
game.
I think they'll get a result there.
Big games.
So it'll be a tough game.
Tight games.
Yeah. But that's the games that Notts need to pick points up.
Brilliant.
They can make a statement at Walsall.
Yeah.
Good. And Mansfield can make a statement at Bolton. But the big games are playing against good sides.
Time for another look at our Friday picture of the day now, and this beautiful sunrise, look at that, taken in Arnold, was taken by Andrew Topping. Weather-wise, and tonight we will see some light rain before it dries up overnight. Temperatures aren't dropping though, sticking at around 7 to 8 degrees. Into the weekend, and Saturday morning will begin overcast but dry. By about midday though, we should start seeing some sunshine. High temperatures of 13. Sunday is a mixture of some showers early on, changing to sunny spells around midday and a chance of some more rain in the evening. Temperatures still pretty mild though, in the low teens between 11 and 13. Right, that's it for your Friday show. Thank you, as always, to our brilliant guest this week. Lovely Al Booth is back on the other side of the weekend to do it all over again. But before that, from everyone here on the team, whatever you get up to, have a brilliant weekend, and I'll see you soon. I'm Emma Caldwell. Bye-bye.